Welcome to ScareTheater, and today I'm going to be talking about Richard Ramirez, which is requested by FutureBoxer92, and here's the scary picture of the day, which was created by Cupcake AJ. So anyways, here is the video. Richard Ramirez, also known as the Night Stalker, is an infamous serial killer, rapist, burglar, and Satan worshipper that operated in Los Angeles and San Francisco from 1984 to 1985. He didn't just settle for a single weapon. In fact, he used a very large variety of weapons, including handguns, knives, a machete, a tire iron, and a hammer. He was extremely tall, measuring 6'1", and killed a total of 13 people. How could someone be this deranged? A lot of bad stuff happened during Ramirez's childhood, which may have been factors leading up to his crime spree. However, we can't entirely blame his upbringing for causing him to be this way, because Ramirez was one of 5 children, and his siblings did not end up becoming serial killers. Ramirez's dad had many fits of anger, and as a result, Ramirez suffered a lot of child abuse. This was so bad that he would often sleep in a local cemetery to escape his dad's violence. He also experienced a few bad head injuries growing up. Once, a dresser fell on his head, which resulted in him getting 30 stitches when he was 2 years old, and when he was 5, he was knocked out by a swing, which caused him to experience epileptic seizures until he was a teenager. But I think that one huge thing that influenced Ramirez was his older cousin, Mike. Mike Ramirez was an army veteran who would often talk about all the things he did in the war. He would show some pictures of his victims in Vietnam to Richard, some which included the women he raped. In some pictures, he would actually pose with the severed heads of the victims. Richard really liked spending time with Mike and listening to his war stories. Not only do I think Mike had a huge influence on him, but I think he also helped Richard become more skilled at killing, because he would actually teach him some of the military skills, such as stealthily killing. On May 4th, 1973, Richard saw Mike shoot his wife in the face after they got into an argument. After this, Richard Ramirez became much more withdrawn from people. Not only did Ramirez commit several crimes when he was younger, but there was one point in which he got a job at a hotel and would use his passkey to steal from the guests. There was one instance in which he attempted to rape a guest, but the husband arrived back at the room in time to beat Ramirez to a pulp. Ramirez was not charged with anything because the couples refused to come back to testify against him. When he was 22 years old, Ramirez moved to California. Richard Ramirez's first kill happened on April 10th, 1984. A 9-year-old girl named Mei Lung was raped, beaten, and stabbed to death. Her body was found hanging on a pipe in a hotel basement. After this, he committed several more gruesome murders. On March 17, 1985, he shot a 22-year-old woman named Maria Hernandez after she pulled into her garage. Miraculously, she survived after the bullet ricocheted off her car keys. After shooting Hernandez, Ramirez went into the house and killed her roommate, Dale Okazaki. On May 14, 1985, Ramirez broke into the home of Bill Doy and shot him in the face. After ransacking the house, he entered Doy's wife's room and raped her. The list of killings just go on, but the crime that got him caught was the attempted murder of Bill Carnes. On August 24, 1985, Ramirez arrived at Carnes' home in a stolen Toyota. He broke into the house and shot Bill Carnes in the face 3 times. He then forced his wife to say she loved Satan as he beat her and tied her up. After Ramirez stole what he could, he raped Carnes' wife. When Ramirez left in the Toyota, a 13-year-old neighbor thought he looked suspicious and wrote down as much of the license plate as he could remember. The police eventually talked to the boy, who told them what he wrote down from the license plate. When the police found the car, they were able to get a fingerprint which belonged to Richard Ramirez. This is when they released a mugshot of him to let everyone know who he was. On August 30th, 1985, Ramirez walked into a convenience store, not knowing that his mugshot had been released. After getting a few strange looks, he noticed that his face was on the cover of a newspaper on the newspaper rack. Out of panic, he ran out of the store, and after running for a long time in several failed carjackings, he was caught by a group of citizens who held on to him until the police arrived. On September 20th, 1989, Richard Ramirez was convicted of 13 counts of murder, 5 attempted murders, 11 sexual assaults, and 14 burglaries. He was given the death sentence. However, he actually ended up dying of lymphoma before he was executed. Now, it's true that Ramirez did have a pretty awful childhood, but that's no excuse for the actions he committed later on in his life. Like I always say, the good thing is that he can't harm anyone else anymore. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the flip side.